Part 1. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 1. Hiss. Where is this place? Liang Ji woke up in a daze and felt something hit his head. He reached out and touched it, and then heard a burst of children's laughter. He opened his eyes wide and looked at the surrounding environment in surprise. This is a classroom, surrounded by a bunch of little kids, looking at me and laughing. There is also a man with an angry face on the podium, yelling at him. Ryosuke Yagami, you fell asleep during class time again. Go out and make me stand outside. Ryosuke Yagami? Me. Liang Ji was in a daze, feeling many pictures flashing through his mind. He subconsciously walked towards the door of the classroom, and halfway there, a guy with a puppy on his head suddenly stretched out his hand. One leg wanted to mess with him. Liang Ji glanced at this little brat and walked over directly. Nara Shikamaru. You two, go out with Ryosuke Yagami to stand for punishment. As soon as I walked to the door, the teacher's angry yelling came from the classroom behind me. Then a little kid with pineapple hair and dead fish eyes walked out of the classroom and stood in front of Liang Ji. Stand next to Ryosuke, we two are forced to stand again today. The pineapple-headed kid raised his head and looked at the clouds in the sky with a bored look on his face. Ah. Yes. Liang Ji responded instinctively. He felt that his mind was still very confused. Some strange and familiar pictures always appeared in his mind, which made him unable to concentrate. Nara Shikamaru glanced at him, probably a little strange today. Why is Ryosuke a bit gloomy? But he is not a talkative person. Coupled with a smart brain, he understands what to ask and what not to ask at a young age. Besides, that's super troublesome. Woo, today's clouds look like rabbits. Nara Shikamaru raised his head and continued to be in a daze. So, I am Ryosuke Yagami now? This is the world of Naruto. Ryosuke Yagami has finally accepted the memories of the past 10 years. It turns out I'm dead. He smiled bitterly. 10 years ago, he traveled to this world of Naruto, but for some reason, the memory of his previous life was never awakened. It was not until today, because of the awakening of the system, that the memory of his previous life was finally awakened and he regained control. This body. Are you in the system? Ryosuke Yagami called in his heart. Ding. It is detected that the host's past life memory has been awakened and the system is officially bound. Has the relationship not been bound before? A few seconds later. Ding. Binding completed. Welcome to Talent Entry System. Finally finished. Ryosuke Yagami asked impatiently, System, what function do you have? This is the world of Naruto, and the risk factor is extremely high. Besides, Ryosuke Yagami is currently in Konoha village. It was the village that was destroyed by Pain Ryudeo a few years later. He didn't want to experience death again. Not to mention, it's hard to say whether he can survive until the time when Pain's 6 paths attack the village. After all, there is still a Chunin exam ahead. Ryosuke Yagami is not one of the 12 heroes in the original work. He has never even seen his own character in the original work. He is probably a bit player who has not even graduated. No. It should be said that it is a background board, not even a supporting role. It's too miserable. The previous 10 years were such a waste. If the system had woken me up earlier, my current strength would never have been so great. Ryosuke Yagami couldn't help but get a headache when he thought about his 10-year-old self, who couldn't even release the most basic ninjutsu like the 3-body technique 100%. Isn't this talent too rubbish? Or is it because I was too lazy in the past 10 years? After all, a student who sleeps in class is either a top student like Nara Shikamaru next to him, or a scumbag like Ryosuke Yagami. Therefore, Ryosuke Yagami especially hopes for what he can get now. This system can be more powerful. it is best to have cage level strength before the Chunin exam. In that case, you should not die tragically in the Konoha collapse plan. This system aims to obtain high-quality talent entries for the host to enhance the host's ability to survive in this world. The host can transform talent entries by obtaining other people's biopheromones. The host has a chance to transform talent entries once a day, and the number of times per day cannot be superimposed. You can choose equipment for talent entries, or you can choose to decompose them. After decomposing, you can get a certain amount of experience points. Experience points can be used to improve the level of talent entries. The higher the level of the talent entry, the better the effect. Biopheromone. Cell tissue. Can it also transform talent entries? I don't know if this talent entry is powerful. Host, you still have a newbie gift package to receive, do you want to receive it? The system suddenly asked. Receive. Get it now. Ryosuke Yagamai said quickly in his mind. A gift package for beginners. The system didn't mention it, and he almost forgot about it. Ding. Congratulations to the host for opening the newbie gift pack and obtaining the talent entry Son of Destiny. A golden light shone before his eyes. Ryosuke Yagamai was a little dizzy from the golden light. But I was very happy inside. This is the golden legend. Moreover, Destiny's Son sounds very lofty when you hear it. Huh. In front of me, an information panel automatically expanded. Ryosuke Yagamai looked up. Ryosuke Yagamai. Talent entries. Child of Destiny, Gold. You are the beloved child of Destiny in the legend, so you can always turn danger into good fortune when facing danger. Luck is always with you when encountering fatal danger. Your strength will be add 500% in all directions. Add 1000 chance that your enemy will be unlucky %. Number of conversions, 1. Biopheromone warehouse, no items. It is indeed worthy of being a golden legend, this attribute is so awesome. Seeing the information about the talent entry of Destiny Child, Ryosuke couldn't help but gasped. This is too awesome. Not only has the strength increased 5 times in all directions, but the enemies will be 10 times more unlucky than usual. This is you will step into traps when you go out, and you will definitely eat bugs when you eat. Ryosuke Yagamai can't help but start to mourn for his future enemies. Poor guys, I hope you can hold on. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 2. The bell rang for the end of Get Out of Class. Teacher Irika on the podium organized his lesson plan and announced that Get Out of Class was over. Ryosuke, Shikamaru, don't sleep during class anymore, do you understand? When I walked to the door and saw the 2 people who were still standing, Teacher Irika also said to them seriously. In fact, this was mainly said to Ryosuke Yagamai. Because Shikamaru is a smart child, and he was born in the Nara clan. In Konoha, there are not many family ninjas who are good at it. Not to mention, Shikamaru is the only son of Nara Shikaku, the head of the Nara clan. It is not an exaggeration to describe him as coming from a wealthy family. But Ryosuke Yagamai is different. He is just a commoner, just like Irika himself. Therefore, Irika knows very well how difficult it is for a commoner to get ahead. He was also the bottom of the class at the beginning, but with unremitting efforts, you will eventually become a Chunin. So, it doesn't matter if you have a little talent. But you must work hard enough. Otherwise, even if you have good talent, it will be wasted. Civilian ninjas will be useless if they don't work hard. He will never get ahead. Irika is thinking about Ryosuke Yagamai from the perspective of a person who has experienced it, but this child seems to be born with a very lazy personality. He either deserts or falls asleep in class. His cultural performance is lower than Uzumaki in the class. Naruto is better. But there is nothing to compare between the last one in 10,000 years and the second last one. Not to mention, in the practical class, Ryosuke Yagami's results were even worse than Naruto Uzumaki. At least Naruto was there not bad at physical skills. But Yagami Ryosuke is the kind of guy who is terrible at everything. Iruka-sensei, I will never sleep again. Ryosuke Yagami assured. I hope you can keep your word. Teacher Iruka shook his head, sighed and turned away. Obviously, he didn't believe Yagami Ryosuke's guarantee. Probably because this was the guarantee he had heard for so many times that he couldn't remember. But Yagami Ryosuke has never done it. If Iruka hadn't been serious and responsible, he would have given up on Yagami Ryosuke, a scumbag who he didn't want, if he had left it to other teachers. Ryosuke, are you serious this time? Shikamaru on the side suddenly asked. When did I stop being serious? Ryosuke Yagami said. Shikamaru looked at him with a pair of dead fish eyes. Last time, the last time, and the last time. Ryosuke Yagami. It's so heartbreaking, old man. This time it's serious. Ryosuke. Yagami said I'm about to graduate. If I continue to mess around, I'm afraid I won't be able to graduate. That's true. Shikamaru nodded. Graduation. If he can't graduate, he will definitely be nagged to death by his mother, right? But that's impossible. He just graduated from the ninja school, which is too easy for Shikamaru. Shikamaru, let's go have lunch on the rooftop. Chuji Akimichi came over with a huge lunchbox and invited Shikamaru to. Fine. Shikamaru nodded, said hello to Ryosuke Yagami, and then followed Chisai. Standing there, Ryosuke Yagami hesitated for a moment, but still did not rush forward to obtain biopheromone from the two of them. The days are long, and there is only one chance to transform every day. The first few times must be used on the itch. If anyone in the ninja school has biopheromone that is most suitable for transforming talent entries, Yagami Ryosuke will be the first to say I thought of Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. The former is an orphan of the Uchiha clan, has Uchiha blood, and is the reincarnation of Indra's chakra. The latter has the blood of the Uzumaki clan in his body, and is born with extremely large chakra and strong vitality. And they are also the chakra reincarnation of Azura. These two people are definitely Yagami Ryosuke's first choice for transformation. Just right. Yagami Ryosuke just saw Uchiha Sasuke eating lunch in the classroom, so he can go directly there and look for opportunities. Obtain biopheromone from him. Biopheromone can be anything as long as it carries target cell substances. The first thing Ryosuke Yagami thinks of is hair. Normal people lose 70-100 hairs every day, and hair it is the easiest biopheromone to obtain. Erzuza was quite cute when he was little. Ryosuke Yagami muttered in his heart, then turned around and walked into the classroom. His seat happened to be at the back of Sasuke Uchiha's row. Ryosuke Yagami pretended to go back to his seat and passed by Uchiha. He suddenly stopped when he was next to Sasuke. Something's wrong. Uchiha Sasuke looked at him coldly. Ever since his family was exterminated by his brother, this guy has always looked like this bitter and resentful person. He always has this expression no matter who he treats. You dropped your pen. Ryosuke Yagami bent down and picked up a pen from the ground. He picked up a small hair on Sasuke Uchiha's chair. Give. He handed the pen to the other party. This is not mine. Uchiha Sasuke replied coldly. Oh, yes. This is mine. Ryosuke Yagami looked like he had just reacted. Uchiha Sasuke stared at him coldly. He always felt that Ryosuke Yagami had other agendas, and what he said just now, he felt as if the other party was scolding him. Is it an illusion? Sasuke thought in confusion. I won't interrupt your meal. After Ryosuke Yagami said something, he went back to his seat. Uchiha Sasuke watched him return to his seat and then looked away with a frown. Huh. Not suspected. Yagami Ryosuke secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Speaking of which, Urju's eyes are quite scary. That cold feeling, should he be said to be Uchiha? Thinking to himself, Yagami Ryuzuke also took out the root Uchiha Sasuke's hair. There shouldn't be any mistake, right? He muttered in his heart, but without hesitation in his hand movements, he directly put the hair into the system's biopheromone warehouse, and then chose to transform it. Are you sure to convert the target's talent entry? Confirm. Yakami Ryuzuke said silently. Ding. Conversion successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the talent entry, Spirit of Vengeance, Eye of Curse, Indra's Resentment. In front of his eyes, a golden light shone. Even stronger than the previous one. Ryusuke Yagami narrowed his eyes subconsciously. At the same time, I was also very surprised. System, isn't the transformation of this talent entry fixed? Ryusuke Yagami asked. The system never said that. The system replied. Is there such a good thing? Ryusuke Yagami was ecstatic. In this case, although the number of conversions per day is only once, the talent entries obtained are not necessarily only one. Good guy, as expected of the second pillar, he actually published 3 golden legendary entries. Ryusuke Yagami raised his head and looked at Uchiha Sasuke in the row in front of him. His eyes seemed to be looking at some rare treasure. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 3. In the level classification of the talent entry system, gold is already the 5th level. In front of gold, there are 4 levels of white, green, blue, and purple, in order. On top of the gold, there are talent entries marked with the word God. Ryusuke Yagami called it a God level entry. Currently, God level entries are already the top talent entries. And the 4 talent entries that Yagami Ryusuke has now obtained are all golden. I have to say, the quality is really high. Ryusuke Yagami. Talent entries. Child of Destiny, Gold. You are the beloved child of destiny in the legend, so you can always turn danger into good fortune when facing danger. Luck is always with you when encountering fatal danger. Your strength will be at 500% in all directions. Add 1000 chance that your enemy will be unlucky %. Spirit of Vengeance, Gold. You are an avenger. You are unstoppable on the road to revenge. Your chakra training efficiency is at 1000%, ninjutsu power at 500%. Cursed Eye, Gold. Your eyes are cursed by the world, but the world is ignorant. How can they know your talent? Obtain the Sharingan, with Uchiha bloodline, and the eye opening efficiency is at 1000%, eye power at 500%. Indra's Resentment, Gold. Indra was resentful because of his father's preference for Azura. His resentment in dozens of reincarnations was unmatched, eye power at 500%, Suzanu's size at 500%, the power of the pupil technique is at 500%, chakra at 1000%. Number of conversions, 0. Biopheromone warehouse, no items. The 3 new golden talent entries are almost all related to the Sharingan, the bloodline limit of the Uchiha clan. Except for the Spirit of Vengeance. This talent entry improves the efficiency of chakra training and the power of ninjutsu, and has nothing to do with the blood inheritance limit. But this talent entry is not bad at all. 10 times the training efficiency allows Yagami Ryusuke, a commoner, to possess a huge amount of chakra. With 5 times the power of ninjutsu, even an ordinary fireball jutsu can have an effect that exceeds that of fire dragon flame bullets. C-level ninjutsu, the power instantly changes to A level. The Cursed Eye entry not only allowed Ryusuke Yagami, who was originally of civilian blood and had mediocre talents, to obtain the Sharingan, but also of Uchiha blood. There will be no situation like Heitake Kakashi, who can only keep his eyes open forever and cannot close them. Moreover, 10 times the eye-opening efficiency means that Yagami Ryusuke only needs 1/10 of the mental stimulation of a normal Uchiha clan member, or even lower, to open his eyes. And all the way to Kaleidoscope, there are no bottlenecks. After all, 10 times more efficient, are you kidding me? In addition, there is a 5-fold increase in pupil power. You know, the reason why the Mangekyo Sharingan's pupil technique is powerful relies on the power of the pupil to support it. Kaleidoscope's pupil technique consumes a lot of pupil power. The stronger the pupil technique, the more pupil power is consumed. And once the pupil power is exhausted, the eyes will go blind. And Ryusuke Yagami, whose eye power has been increased 5 times, is basically much stronger than other Uchiha's kaleidoscopes. It can't be said to be comparable to the Eternal Kaleidoscope, but it is definitely much better than a normal kaleidoscope. With so much pupil power, even with the same recovery efficiency, Yagami Ryusuke's pupil power can be restored faster than other Uchihas. For example, if they recover 0.1% in 1 hour, an ordinary Uchiha can only recover 1 point with 1000 points of pupil power in an hour, while Yagami Ryusuke can recover 6 points with 6000 points of pupil power. Does it recover faster than other Uchihas? Not to mention, the last talent entry Indra's Resentment increased Ryusuke Yagami's eye power by 500%. At this moment, Ryusuke Yagami's eye power is 11 times that of other Uchihas. Others recover 1 point in an hour, but he recovers 11 points. Wouldn't the pupil power consumed by a pupil technique be recovered in an hour or two? Even if it is not the eternal eye, if the pupil technique is used too much, the upper limit of pupil power will gradually decrease. But if other Uchiha kaleidoscopes are blind for 1 year, then Yagami Ryusuke, who has a higher upper limit, can last until 11 years. After 11 years, Ryusuke Yagami still can't find a way to open the eternal eye. Then just stop cheating. This is completely sorry for the 4 words cheating the strong. In addition to eye power, the talent entry Indra's Resentment also has 3 other attributes. Ichijo increases Suzanu's size 5 times. Originally, Susanoo was already huge enough. For regular ninjas, it was already a dimensionality reduction attack. Now 5 times more? Does this leave a way for others to survive? Ryusuke Yagami himself couldn't help but feel like he had become titanium. Fortunately, no one knows. Otherwise, the 5 great ninja villages might collectively kill Ryusuke Yagami in advance. After all, there shouldn't be such an awesome person in this world. If Suzanu's size increased 5 times, it was already excessive, then the latter attribute, the power of the eye technique, increased 5 times, was even more excessive. The Sharingan's pupil technique is known to be very powerful. Itachi, the filial son, can easily kill Kakashi in 1 month. Uchiha Shisui's move against other gods made even the higher UPS in Konoha extremely fearful. Uchiha Obito's divine power even involves the space field. He becomes invincible for 5 minutes. His other eye is also extremely powerful. He can directly transmit objects within his sight into the divine space. Even the Taoist jade can be directly transmitted to you. Walk. Although there is also the eye spanning technique. But most of them are quite strong and very unsolvable. And this is still normal. If it were increased by 5 times the power, wouldn't that be outrageous? This entry is so awesome. It is indeed an entry named after Indra, so powerful. Ryusuke Yagami couldn't help but admire in his heart. As for the final 10-fold increase in chakra, in front of the attributes of the previous entries, it seems a bit ordinary. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 4. Ryusuke Yagami summed it up. The 3 talent entries he transformed from Uchiha Sasuke have improved him in total, 10 times the efficiency of chakra training, 5 times the power of ninjutsu, the blood of the Uchiha clan, 10 times the efficiency of opening eyes, 10 times the eye power, 5 times the size of Susanna, 5 times the power of the eye technique and 10 times the amount of chakra. The attributes of the talent entry Son of Destiny are different. The first one is to set out when encountering fatal danger and increase your strength by 5 times in all directions. The second article has little to do with Yagami Ryusuke himself. It is mainly aimed at those enemies, making them more unlucky, falling when walking, and stepping on dog shit when going out. These are all routine operations. The overall appearance does not seem to be as intuitive as the improvement of the 3 talent entries just obtained. But just an all-round increase in strength is already amazing. As for being able to activate it only when encountering fatal danger, Yagami Ryusuke lowered his head and looked at an ant that happened to be crawling on the ground. If I were bitten by this ant, and it happened to carry a deadly virus, wouldn't I be dead? Ryusuke Yagami thought over and over in his heart. Really? The next second he felt a force that was born out of thin air in his body and spread throughout his body in an instant. It's not just physical fitness that has improved several times. Even the pitifully small amount of chakra in Ryusuke Yagami's body increased dramatically in an instant. Sure enough it can. Ryusuke Yagami's eyes lit up and he couldn't help laughing. He was thinking just now. How was this fatal danger determined? Could it be determined from his subjective concept? Therefore, he deliberately put it was obviously a very small and ordinary thing, but I imagined it to be extremely dangerous, as if I might lose my life at any time. Sure enough. The entry attributes of the Destiny Child were activated by Yagami Ryusuke. The all-round strength increased 5 times. Originally, Ryusuke Yagami's strength is not even as good as that of a genin. But after all-around enhancement by 5 times, Ryusuke Yagami feels that beating a genin is like a father beating his son. This is because he has not learned any ninjutsu, and his physical skills are not as good as those of a father. It's an extremely stressful situation. If he practices a few ninjutsu and uses the attributes of his talent entries to successfully open his eyes, his strength will be many times stronger than it is now. After eating the lunch he brought, Yagami Ryusuke found a quiet place to sit down and rest. While there was still time during lunch break, Yagami Ryusuke was going to open the Sharingan first. Opening eyes may be a very difficult thing for other Uchihas, but for Ryusuke Yagami, who has the talent entry of Cursed Eye, it is just a matter of having hands. After making sure that no one was around, Ryusuke Yagami closed his eyes and began to recall the various tragic literary works he had read in his previous life and the sadistic scenes in those movies and television works. Recalling this, Ryusuke Yagami couldn't help but burst into tears. Under his closed eyelids, his pupils gradually turned blood red, and a small black Megatama gradually began to rotate and solidify. A minute later, Ryusuke Yagami stopped and reached out to touch his eyes. My eyes felt cool, as if there was energy gathering in them. This should be the power of the Sharingan. Eye power does not only occur when the kaleidoscope is turned on. In fact, eye power appears from the moment the Sharingan opens. But compared to the kaleidoscope, even the 3 Magatama Sharingan's pupil power is very scarce. Incomparable. But at this time, Yagami Ryusuke could clearly feel the power contained in his eyes. That's because he has the blessing of 2 talent entries, and it will only feel obvious when his pupil power increases 10 times. Single Megatama. It's not enough. Ryusuke Yagami looked through a small mirror and saw the pair of Sharingan eyes that he had successfully opened. 1 minute, open the eyes directly. Isn't this better than Urge's whole family being killed and opening a single Megatama in anger? But it's a joke, the potential of the second pillar is still very strong. Moreover, even for the sake of the second pillar providing him with 3 golden talent entries, Ryusuke Yagami will ignore his reputation for pretending to be incomparable but getting slapped in the face. Scene. Continue. Ryusuke Yagami put away the small mirror, closed his eyes again, and began to recall more deeply. The beautiful green shadow under the Zuxian sword formation. In front of the water monster, the dying descendants of Nuwa. In the barren mountains and ridges, lying on the ground the woman in white. Images kept reappearing in Yagami Ryosuke's mind. Under his eyes, the black Megatama was spinning crazily. Soon it changed from 1 Megatama to 2 Megatama. Then, the speed of rotation gradually increased. Slowing down. The third Megatama that had just shown a trace did not completely solidify in the end, but disappeared again after the rotation speed slowed down. 2 minutes. Yagami Ryosuke silently calculated the time in his mind. Then he took out a small mirror and looked at his eyes. Both eyes were standard double Megatama. There was no stunted development of one single Megatama and one double Megatama. Opening the double Megatama in 3 minutes is not bad. Ryosuke Yagami raised the corners of his mouth and showed a smile. Successfully opening his eyes and activating the double Megatama greatly improved Ryosuke Yagami's strength. First is chakra. The chakra of the Uchiha clan is basically directly related to the number of Megatama in the Sharingan. Certainly. It's a different matter if you haven't opened your eyes. In terms of eye opening, basically a single Megatama makes you an elite genin, a double Megatama makes you an elite Chuunin, and almost all of the Uchiha clan with 3 Megatama have the strength of an elite Jounin. As for Ryosuke Yagami, who successfully activated the double Megatama, the chakra base in his body at this time also went from being far lower than a genin to a level that is now close to a chunin. Plus a 10x increase. The chakra in his body far exceeds that of most Chuunin. It has reached a level close to that of a Jounin. To describe it in 1 unit, it would be about 0.8 calories. Although Heitake Kakashi is an elite Jounin, his Sharingan is dragging him down, consuming a certain amount of chakra every moment. Therefore, Kakashi's chakra has always been lacking. 0.8 calories, which is almost as close as a Jounin. And 1 card of chakra is basically the standard amount of chakra for a Jounin. If it weren't for the drag of the Sharingan, Kakashi's chakra wouldn't be so small. It can be said that success is the Sharingan and defeat is the Sharingan. But it was a gift given to Kakashi by Uchiha Obito before his death. Kakashi will never take off this eye no matter what. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 5. With the double Megatama Sharingan activated and the tenfold increase in chakra, my current chakra is basically close to the level of a Jounin. At my age, except for a very small number of people, the chakra has reached this level. Apart from titanium, there should be no one around. Ryosuke Yagami felt with satisfaction that the chakra in his body had become extremely abundant. This chakra was much larger than his previous chakra, and it was not the same magnitude at all. Moreover, the benefits of turning on the double Megatama are not only the amount of chakra increases. At the same time, the double Megatama also means that Yagami Ryosuke can use Sharingan to copy other people's taijutsu and ninjutsu. Just like Kakashi, who claims to have copied thousands of ninjutsu. Copy ninja. Doesn't it rely on the Sharingan? Ninjutsu, I couldn't even use the 3-body jutsu before, but that kind of rubbish talent is gone forever. Yagami Ryosuke can now use the 3-skin technique that he couldn't use well before. It's mainly because the blood of the Uchiha clan has made his talent better. Although it can't be said that he has the talent of the dutiful son Itachi. But it's still at the level of a normal Uchiha. Not very good, but not overwhelming either. The lunch break at noon is over. Yagami Ryosuke returned to the classroom and sat down in his seat. Ryosuke, do you want to go play by the river together after school in the afternoon? At this time, a little boy next to him came over and asked. This person is Ryosuke Yagami's desk mate. Like Ryosuke Yagami before him, he is also a background character. If there is a relationship, it's not bad or not, it's just a normal relationship between classmates. No, I have to practice after school. Ryusuke Yagamai rejected the other party's invitation. Practice? You. The other party looked at him with a surprised expression. It seemed hard to believe that someone as lazy as him, Ryusuke Yagamai, would actually take the initiative to practice. Ryusuke Yagamai didn't want to talk to this guy. What's this expression? Ryusuke Yagamai, he has to start a new life in the future. He was too lazy in the past. He was obviously not talented, but he didn't know how to work hard. No wonder he became a background without even a name. The first class in the afternoon was theoretical knowledge. Yagamai Ryusuke was still listening to the class carefully at first, but as he listened, he couldn't help but look out the window. Wow! That cloud looks like a steamed bun. Huh. Speaking of steamed buns, I suddenly felt a little hungry. What's going on? Yagamai Ryusuke touched his stomach and felt a little hungry indeed. Maybe it was because he refined a lot of chakra at noon, which caused all the lunch he had eaten to be consumed. That's why he was like this, almost hungry. By the way, do ninja schools still teach this kind of thing? Surely this is what a 10-year-old kid should learn. Ryusuke Yagamai glanced at the parabolic graph on the blackboard. At this time, Mr. Irika was explaining to them the theoretical application of shuriken. But the key is, isn't this thing all about feel? I haven't heard that the filial son Itaki has learned this thing. But the shurikens are different and the thief sixes thrown away. Forget it, don't learn this kind of thing. Ryusuke Yagamai gave up on understanding the meaning of these parabolas and numbers. Of course, this was definitely not because he found that he couldn't understand. It was because this thing was really useless. Throwing shurikens? That's not true. Just your hands. After the first class in the afternoon, Ryusuke Yagamai found Hinata who was sitting in the next row of seats. The 10-year-old Hinata looked tiny and cute. Ryusuke Yagamai felt like reaching out and jerking her off. The urge to stroke her blue-purple hair. Fortunately, he restrained it. Otherwise, he would definitely be considered a titanium child. N.A. Back to you. Ryusuke Yagamai handed Hinata the small mirror from before. Ah. Okay. Hinata timidly took the mirror with her little hand, lowering her head and not daring to look at him. Thank you. Ryusuke Yagamai said thank you. No. You are welcome. The voice was too soft, I almost didn't hear it clearly. Yagamai Ryusuke complained in his heart. By the way, Hinata's character is really too introverted. I don't know how she was developed. It seems like she has been like this since she was a child, right? Let's talk about the environment. If so, isn't Hinata Hanabi quite outgoing? Maybe it's due to some experiences she had when she was a child. After all, she was kidnapped by Kyumigakuru's ninjas at the age of 3. Having had that kind of childhood experience, some of it will be left behind psychologically. Shadowy. However, Hinata is really gentle like this. I'm just too shy to raise my head to look at people. Ryusuke Yagamai thought to himself. Maybe Ryusuke Yagamai stood there for so long that Hinata couldn't help but start to blush. That, Ryusuke-kun, is there anything else? Hinata, who was a little embarrassed, also summoned up the courage to ask. No, I just think Hinata is cute. Ryusuke Yagamai said with a smile. It's quite cute, quite cute. These 4 words echoed over and over in Hinata's mind many times. Visible to the naked eye, her face is getting redder and redder. Ryusuke-kun, are you talking nonsense? What is cute or not, I simply. Hinata's hesitant words were useless. Ryusuke Yagamai took a look and realized that it was enough. If this continues, Hinata is afraid that she will have to perform a unique trick of fainting on the spot for him. It seems like someone is calling me, I have to leave first. By the way, thank you for the mirror. Ryusuke Yagamai found an excuse and ran away. He planned to buy something to eat to cushion his stomach. Otherwise, he would starve. He is only 10 years old and it is the time when he is growing up. He cannot starve himself. 1. It would be a disaster if he was stunted like Naruto. Ryusuke-kun, you lied again. Hinata raised her head and looked at the back of Ryusuke Yagami running out of the classroom, and whispered softly. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 6. Around 4 p.m. Ninja school is out. Yagami Ryusuke said hello to a few friends in the class who were relatively close to each other, and quickly ran out of the school with his small school bag. Konoha village is said to be a village, but in fact it is not a small place. Yagami Ryusuke ran at a trot's pace and took about 6 or 7 minutes to get home. I'm back. Ryusuke Yagami, who walked into the entrance, put on indoor slippers, threw his small school bag on the table, and ran directly towards the yard. Ryusuke is back. Would you like some snacks? In the kitchen, Yagami Miu, who was already preparing dinner, poked her head out and asked with a smile. No need, Mom, I'm going to practice in the yard. Ryusuke Yagami responded hurriedly, and he had already run into the yard. This kid. Yakama Mitsuki shook her head with a smile and continued to work in the kitchen. Yagami Ryusuke was a single-parent family in this life. His father died when he was 5 or 6 years old while performing a mission that was said to be quite dangerous. Since then, he has been living with his mother, Mitsuki Yagami. Mother and son are also dependent on each other. Mitsuki Yagami is a medical chuunin and usually works at Konoha Hospital. It is not wartime now, and the work of the hospital is not very busy. So I got off work quite early. Ryusuke Yagami's family is not rich, but it is not poor either. Both his parents are ninjas, and his father used to be a special jonin. The rewards for performing tasks are not low, and the family is quite wealthy. Savings. Therefore, Yagami Ryusuke actually lived a good life in the first 10 years. It was just that his talent was too ordinary, and he was too lazy to work, which led to such a wide range of strength. But these are all in the past now. The memory of the past life has awakened. Ryusuke Yagami will definitely not continue to eat and wait to die like he did in the past. In the yard. Ryusuke Yagami came to a big tree planted in the yard. Let's practice chakra control first. After all, so much chakra has suddenly increased. Although it is not completely uncontrollable with the Sharingan, it is still far from excellent control. A ninja may not know any powerful ninjutsu, but his chakra control must be excellent. Otherwise, your 3 chakras will not be able to exert the same effect as one of other ninjas. The other 2.5 chakras will be useless, it was all wasted. Moreover, certain ninjutsu require very high chakra control abilities. Typical ones are medical ninjutsu and Raise-nan. Ryusuke Yagami's mother is a medical ninja, so there are many in the family. A scroll on how to improve chakra control ability. It's just that Yagami Ryusuke was too lazy in the past, not to mention how much chakra he had at that time. I'm afraid he didn't even have 1/3 of the genin. With so much chakra, he needs to practice fucking control ability. Let's start by climbing the tree. I remember doing this. Standing in front of the big tree, Ryusuke Yagami began to tentatively climb up. He first stepped on the trunk of the tree with 1 foot, then used chakra to absorb it to it, and then tried to lift up the other foot and step on it. As a result, as soon as I lifted it up, I fell to the ground with a bang. Oops. Ryusuke Yagami also rubbed his butt. Everything is difficult at the beginning, keep going. He comforted himself. He stood up and continued practicing. Before he knew it, Ryusuke Yagami had been practicing tree climbing in the yard for more than an hour. From the beginning, he could not even take a step, but now, he can already move forward. Walk 3 steps up. Ryusuke, it's time to eat. At this time, Yagami Mitsuki, who was in the room, also came over to call Yagami Ryusuke to go have dinner. Here we go, Mom. Ryusuke Yagami wiped the sweat from his forehead, and then looked at the tree in front of him. Let's practice after eating. Cultivation is not something that happens overnight. Yagami Ryusuke didn't expect that he could eat a fat man in one breath. Moreover, maybe he will write out talent entries related to chakra control in the future? Wouldn't it be twice the result with half the effort? After going back and taking a shower, Yagami Ryusuke came to the restaurant. I'm gonna start now. Mio Yagami looked at her son in front of her with a smile. Eat more so that you can grow taller and stronger. As for Yagami Ryusuke's son, Yagami Mitsuki doesn't expect him to achieve much. As long as he can grow up in peace, marry a wife, and give her 1 or 2 grandchildren, he will be satisfied. Yagami Mitsuki, who is a ninja herself, is very aware of the dangers of the ninja profession. Yagami Ryusuke's father died in the mission. Therefore, even if his son did not show any outstanding ninja talents, Yagami Mitsuki did not show any outstanding ninja talents. Disappointed. Even a little lucky. Because that way, my son won't need to perform those dangerous missions when he grows up. He doesn't want to be like his father, who has to perform some more dangerous missions because he is a special jonin. Mom, you should also eat more, you have lost weight recently. Ryusuke Yagami did not feel unfamiliar with the mother in front of him because of the awakening of his past life memories. On the contrary, precisely because his mind has become more mature, he is more able to understand the difficulties of Yagami Mitsuki. Under the light, the mother and son were enjoying each other's warmth. The dinner ended in a good atmosphere. After dinner, Ryusuke Yagami went back to his room to practice some ninjutsu. However, the only ninjutsu he knew so far was the 3-body jutsu. After practicing it over and over again, he felt that he was completely proficient. Finally, Ryusuke Yagami picked up a ninjutsu scroll next to him. This was the ninjutsu scroll left by his dead father. As a special jounin, Ryusuke Yagami's father also left a lot of ninjutsu scrolls before his death. Inheritance. Among them are several scrolls of ninjutsu. They are basically water-based, because his father's chakra attribute is water, and he is also good at water escape and swordsmanship. Therefore, among these ninjutsu scrolls, there are 3 water escape ninjas. Jutsu, 2C level and 1B level. Not all ninjas are like Kakashi, who casually mastered thousands of ninjutsu, otherwise Kakashi would not have become famous in the ninja world. Some chunin may only know 1 or 2C level ninjutsu. Most of the time, ninjutsu is a key move that determines victory or defeat, and they cannot be used easily. Only special jounin like Ryusuke Yagami's father can master it. More ninjutsu. But basically not too advanced. After all, they are civilian ninjas. They don't have many resources. In fact, this is the most critical thing. See water escape. Water chaos. This should not be difficult to learn. Ryusuke Yagami glanced at the ninjutsu scroll in his hand and thought that with his improved talent, it should not be difficult to learn such a difficult ninjutsu. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 7. By the way, I don't know what my chakra attribute is yet. Doesn't it mean I don't have water attribute? Thinking of this, Ryusuke Yagami immediately opened the desk drawer on the side and found a box from the drawer, which contained a chakra test paper and some other small items. Ryusuke Yagami took the chakra test paper, he took it out, then held it in his hand and input his own chakra into it. Following Yagami Ryusuke's movements, the chakra test paper also reacted. First, the left side of the test paper became wet, and then the right side burned directly. And finally the chakra test paper split into 2 halves directly from the middle. Water, fire, and wind. Ryosuke Yagami thought to himself. The water and wind attributes should be his innate ones. As for the fire attribute, it is most likely added after acquiring the blood of the Uchiha clan. After all, what Uchiha is best at is fire escape. As long as every Uchiha is a Uchiha, it seems that the Shakura attribute will have the attribute of fire. 3 attributes are okay. Ryosuke Yagami muttered. Although he is not born with 5 attributes of chakra, there are only 2 missing. Besides, this is Konoha, the most popular ones in Konoha are fire escape, wind escape, and water escape. In comparison, next, earth escape and thunder escape are relatively niche. Then let's watch this water chaos again and again to see how long it will take for my improved talent to be developed. Although the double Megatama Sharingan can be copied directly, Ryosuke Yagami has not yet had a suitable opportunity to copy ninjutsu. Although there will be many ninjas practicing in Konoha's training ground, most of them are genin. Practice. It's basically taijutsu, shuriken throwing, etc. The real practice of ninjutsu may require going to some high-level training grounds. But not everyone can enter that kind of training ground. Ryosuke Yagami is a ninja. Students currently studying in the school obviously do not have this qualification. So at this stage, Ryosuke Yagami really has no good way to copy other people's ninjutsu. For the time being, he can only rely on his own talent to learn. Yard. Ryosuke Yagami took a large basin of water and placed it on the ground in front of him. Let's start. Ryosuke Yagami took a deep breath and followed the hand seals with his hands. His movements were a little unfamiliar and formed the hand seals of water and waves. Water escape. Water chaos. He shouted loudly, full of momentum. What a pity. It was of no use. The water in the basin in front of him didn't make any waves at all. The seriousness of Ryosuke Yagami was even reflected in the water. Motivate. Ryosuke Yagami, who was posing, suddenly felt a little embarrassed. A gust of night wind blew, and he felt a chill on the back of his neck. At this time, Yagami Miwa, who was standing not far away, couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Mom, don't disturb my practice!" Ryosuke Yagami shouted with a blushing face. It's so embarrassing. The way he yelled out the name of his move in the 2nd grade just now, his mother must have seen it. At this moment, Ryosuke Yagami wished he could carve out a 3-bedroom apartment on the spot. Buried myself. Okay, I won't watch. Yakama Mio smiled and looked at her son's cute little face, then turned around and went back to the house with a smile. Call. Not counting just now, it must be because I am not familiar with the relationship of seals yet. This time I will practice the seals first and then come back. Ryosuke Yagami summarized his recent failure experience, then sat down cross-legged and followed the order of the seals on the ninjutsu scroll, intending to practice the seals first. So, in the next half hour or so, Yagami Ryosuke has been practicing how to form fast and steady seals. After more than half an hour of practice, Yagami Ryosuke felt that he had done it well. So he stood up again, with a serious expression, and quickly formed knots with his hands. Print. Well, in fact, it's not that fast, about 2.5 prints per second. It's incomparable to the speed of those Jounin seals. But in a ninja school, this seal formation speed is not slow, it can even be ranked in the top 5. Water escape. Water chaos. Ryosuke Yagami shouted loudly. This time, the water in the basin in front of him finally moved a little bit. It was just that the movement was not too big. The water surface fluctuated a few times, stirring up a small stream of water, and then it disappeared, not even overflowing outside the basin. Call. Come again. Ryosuke Yagami did not stop. He continued to try again. Over and over again. Relying on the confidence that the amount of chakra in his body was quite large. Ryusuke Yagami practiced this ninjutsu over and over again. Finally, when more than half of the chakra in his body was consumed, Yagami Ryusuke successfully performed a complete water wave. A stream of water rushed out of the basin in an instant, flew directly out for more than 10 meters, and hit on the yard fence. Success! Ryusuke Yagami's eyes lit up. He immediately ran over happily to see if the wall had been damaged. Facts have proved that Ryusuke Yagami definitely thought too much. Although he successfully performed the water ninjutsu, he was still a beginner. When he first started training, he didn't have much power at all. This was still at a 5-fold increase. Otherwise, probably not much better than peeing against the wall himself. After all, I just learned it, so it's normal for it to be weak. Ryusuke Yagami comforted himself. Moreover, the first step has been taken, and all that is needed is continuous practice. I believe Ryusuke Yagami will be able to cultivate this water chaos to the point where it is no worse than other water escape ninjas at that time. With an increase of 5 times, the power will probably be comparable to the A-level water escape technique of the Great Waterfall, right? A water turbulence, using the effect of the Great Waterfall technique. It's exciting just thinking about it. It's almost time to practice ninjutsu today. Let's continue to practice climbing trees. It is so difficult for me to practice a sea-level ninjutsu, which is also related to my poor chakra control. If my ability to control chakra is better, practicing ninjutsu will be twice the result with half the effort. Thinking in his heart, Ryusuke Yagami also came to the big tree in the yard again. He continued to start the tree climbing training before dinner. This practice continued until 11 o'clock at night. Until Mizuki Yagami come over and tell him to rest. Ryusuke Yagami left the yard with a sense of satisfaction. At this time, Ryusuke Yagami could already walk up 4 or 5 steps. The progress was pretty good. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 8. The next morning, Yagami Ryusuke had breakfast, took the lunchbox Yagami Mitsuki prepared for him, and went out to school. He didn't sleep very well last night. Mainly just too excited. Didn't fall asleep until very late. I was still a little sleepy at the moment and kept yawning along the way. I'm so sleepy that I can't stay up late anymore. Ryusuke Yagami muttered sleepily. At this moment, he suddenly bumped into a soft object. Ryusuke Yagami, who was still a child, almost fell to the ground. "Kid, are you okay?" A soft hand grabbed him, and then a gentle voice came. Ryusuke Yagami instantly felt a lot more energetic. He raised his head and looked at the woman in front of him. She had long black hair and wore a ninja forehead protector. A pair of red eyes, shining with feminine tenderness. The woman is not thin, but not fat either. She has a good figure. Especially open-minded. One look at her future children will definitely not be hungry. Sunset red. Yagami Ryusuke silently read the other person's name in his mind. What's wrong? Did it hurt? Zihihong looked at the cute little boy in front of her, worried that she had hurt the child just now. It was also her fault that she had been walking too fast and didn't notice the other person, which led to the two of them bumping into each other. No, it doesn't hurt. Ryusuke Yagami shook his head and said. Is the eldest sister a ninja? Because he is a 10-year-old kid now, Ryusuke Yagami feels at ease when he calls her big sister. Although his mental age is not younger than Yui Kurane in front of him. Yes, the eldest sister is a jounin. Yui Hong said with a smile, while reaching out to rub Yagami Ryusuke's short black hair. This child is so cute. He will definitely be able to charm many girls when he grows up, right? Yui Hong thought to herself. Although Yagami Ryusuke doesn't like other people, touch your own hair, but if you are a beautiful big sister, then I will forgive you. Wow! Big sister is so awesome. but I will definitely be more powerful than my eldest sister in the future. Is it? Zhihong squatted down with a smile. Then how were your grades in school? If you don't get good grades, you won't be able to be better than your big sister in the future. Regardless of our achievements, we are still good friends. Ryosuke Yagami said with a compliment on his face. Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Yuihong looked at Ryosuke Yagami's bitter look and couldn't help laughing happily. Kid, what's your name? After laughing, Yuihong also asked. My name is Ryosuke Yagami, how about you, big sister? Ryosuke Yagami replied. The eldest sister's name is Yuihong. Yui Kurane stretched out her hand and pinched Yagami Ryosuke's cheek. Don't make it too uncomfortable for a child's face. Yui Kurane felt that she liked the feel of it a little bit. No, your face will get bigger. Ryosuke Yagami stretched out his hand to rub his cheek and said dissatisfiedly. No, and Ryosuke is so cute, it's okay to be a little fat. Zhihong said with a smile, feeling that this child is so interesting. It would be great if it were her own child. Think about it and forget it. She doesn't even have a boyfriend yet. It's too early to think about children now. Ryosuke Yagami is still very confident in his appearance. He takes after his mother's appearance. Mitsuki Yagami is a great beauty, so Ryosuke Yagami is also cute and handsome, and is a standard handsome boy. In the class, in terms of appearance alone, even Uchiha Sasuke is slightly inferior. Pity. Ryosuke Yagami's past results were too outstanding. Even though he is good looking, his popularity is far less than that of Uchiha Sasuke. But the class was just a bunch of brats. Even future beauties like Hinata and Ino Yamanaka are just little brats now. Means nothing. It's a big sister like Yui Kurane that makes Ryosuke Yagami more interested. Is Ryosuke going to school? Zhihong suddenly asked. Yes. Ryosuke Yagami nodded. Is that almost late? Yui Hong suddenly said with a sly smile. Damn it. I was so busy talking to the beautiful elder sister that I lost track of time. Really? Beauty is a disaster. Ryosuke Yagami was complaining in his heart, and he was also in a hurry to leave. Goodbye big sister. As he said that, Ryosuke Yagami suddenly took advantage of Yui Kurane's attention and kissed her on the face. Then he ran away with a smile. This little devil. Zhihong touched her cheek, shook her head with a smile, and didn't think much about it. She was just a 10-year-old kid. There was no way she could think wrongly. On the other side, Yaya ran into the classroom at the right moment. Kami Ryosuke was relieved to see that Mr. Irika hadn't arrived yet. Caught up. He came to his seat and sat down. Nara Shikamaru next to the aisle glanced at him. Overslept? Shikamaru asked. Yagami Ryosuke and Shikamaru have a pretty good relationship. Mainly because they are often punished to stand together. That's how the relationship developed. Well, I practiced too late last night and almost didn't get up today. Ryosuke Yagami nodded and said. Shikamaru looked at him in surprise, obviously not expecting Ryosuke Yagami to actually practice all night. This is not like him. You seem to have changed. Shikamaru looked at him and said. Right? I feel the same way, I feel like I have grown up. Ryosuke Yagami said with a smile. He knew that Shikamaru was very smart, but no matter how smart he was, he would never have thought that Ryosuke Yagami had not changed, but had awakened the memory of his previous life. Haha. As long as you are happy. Shikamaru laughed perfunctorily. Just at this time, Mr. Irika also walked into the classroom. So both of them withdrew their gaze and looked at the podium in front of them. So sleepy. After listening to Mr. Irika's lecture for a while, Yagami Ryosuke suddenly felt more sleepy. Damn it! Did Mr. Irika cast some illusion that would make people sleepy? Yagamai Ryosuke couldn't help complaining in his heart. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 9. I finally made it to the end of the first class. Ryosuke Yagamai instantly had a lot of energy. He glanced around and focused on Uzumaki Naruto sitting in the front row. Yesterday it was the second pillar, today it will be Naruto. Ryosuke Yagamai thought to himself. Naruto, let's go to the bathroom. Ryosuke Yagamai went directly over, patted Naruto on the shoulder and said. Ah. Me. As the most disliked person in the class, Uzumaki Naruto was a little flattered. Boys going to the toilet together is a sign of good relationship. This is actually similar to girls. Going. Ryosuke Yagamai asked. Go, I happen to need to pee too. Naruto laughed and scratched his scalp, stood up quickly, and happily left the classroom with Ryosuke Yagamai. Although it was not difficult to understand that it was just a matter of going to the toilet together, what was there to be so happy about? But when I thought about Naruto usually being there, the treatment in the village, Yagamai Ryosuke can understand it? Naruto is such a good old man. Ryosuke Yagamai glanced at Naruto, who was laughing and joking next to him, and sighed in his heart. If it were him, he would have gone dark and planned to destroy the village. As for people like Naruto, he still wants to let the people in the village recognized him, and then dedicated his life to the village and died. Don't even think about it. After going to the toilet, Yagamai Ryosuke smiled and hugged Naruto's shoulders. Naruto, are we two good buddies? Naruto looked at Ryosuke Yagamai in surprise. In fact, the relationship between the two of them was normal. Although because of their tutoring relationship, Ryosuke Yagamai was not as hostile to Naruto as other civilians, and because Naruto was isolated, we haven't been very close to each other. We occasionally stood together outside the classroom many times, but most of the time Yagamai Ryosuke stood with Shikamaru and the others. In terms of Naruto, we can only say that we are familiar with each other, but not really friends. Uzumaki Naruto is actually quite sensitive. He can feel the attitude of his classmates towards him. Most of them hate him. Only a few are not good or bad to him. And Ryosuke Yagamai is not good or bad. One of the very few people who are bad. But now Ryosuke Yagamai suddenly told him something like good buddies, which confused Naruto a bit. He even felt like he was dreaming. Are we good buddies? Naruto asked a little uncertainly. Of course, we are four brothers who are forced to stand. Ryosuke Yagamai said very seriously. The four brothers who were punished by standing were him, Shikamaru, Naruto, and Inyazuka Kiba. However, Kiba was punished far less often than the three of them. Moreover, Inyazuka Tsukasa is quite a bitch. To be honest, our relationship is relatively average. Yeah, you're right. When Naruto heard what Yagamai Ryosuke said, his eyes suddenly lit up and he nodded. That's good, then you help me on duty today, and I'll help you next time it's your turn. Ryosuke. Yagamai said with a smile. Okay. Naruto agreed without thinking. After all, he is a good buddy. Helping on duty is not the right thing to do. And this scene fell in the eyes of the classmates passing by, who looked at Naruto as if they were looking at a fool. This idiot, Ryosuke Yagamai clearly didn't want to be on duty, so he deliberately deceived you. Was Ryosuke Yagamai deliberately deceiving Naruto? Of course not, he just didn't want people to misunderstand that he had any other purpose of deliberately getting close to Naruto. That's all. Moreover, he said he would help Naruto on duty next time, so he will definitely do it. Well, class is about to begin, let's go back to the classroom quickly. Ryosuke Yagamai said with a happy smile. Of course, he was not happy because Naruto agreed to help him on duty, but because he had just obtained a piece of Naruto's hair and had stored biopheromone in the warehouse. Now, the number of transformations he had today was completely counted by Naruto. Naruto, please don't let me down. We can't lose to Urju. Ryosuke Yagami returned to his seat, muttering silently in his heart, while taking out the hair from the warehouse, and silently recited transformation. The next second, the golden hair in his hand disappeared instantly. At the same time, in front of his eyes there is also a golden light shining. Golden Legend. Yagami Ryosuke's hanging heart instantly fell back. Good. As expected of Uzumaki Naruto, he still has a reputation as the #1 male protagonist. Yagami Ryosuke, I feel happy. Ding. Conversion successful. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the talent entry, King of Mouth Escape, Gold, Demon Fox Incarnation, Gold, Azura's Mercy, Gold. Good guy. Worthy of being one of the 2 male protagonists. The talent entries converted from Naruto turned out to be the same as Uchiha Sasuke, 3 golden legends. At this moment, didn't Yagami Ryosuke activate 7 golden legendary talent entries? Let me just ask, who else? Ryosuke Yagami felt that he was a little swollen. He opened the introduction of 3 new talent entries. Ryosuke Yagami looked carefully. King of Mouth Escape, Gold. Your language is naturally convincing. The more heartfelt your views are, the easier it is for others to recognize you. He is the born King of Mouth Escape. Persuasiveness add 3000%. Affinity add 1000%. Good guy, not many attributes, but such a high value. Ryosuke Yagami looked at the information on the talent entry King of Mouth Escape and marveled that the value of this entry was as high as 3000%, a full 30 times. This was something he had never encountered before. However, this talent entry does not directly improve combat effectiveness. What it adds is persuasion ability and affinity. The former makes what you say easier to be recognized by others, and gives people the feeling of his words speak to the bottom of my heart. The latter makes Ryosuke Yagami more approachable in the eyes of others. To put it bluntly, it means that people have a better first impression of you. Of course, if they are those who particularly hate you, this affinity attribute it's probably useless. After all, 10 times 0 is still 0. And 10 times a negative number, more negative. Not bad, but I don't seem to be the kind of person who speaks very convincingly. I wonder if I can achieve the same effect as Naruto after improving it 30 times. Ryosuke Yagami thought to himself. This talent entry can only be said to be quite satisfactory. It's good, but it's not amazing enough for Ryosuke Yagami. So he looked at the next talent entry of Demon Fox Incarnation. Being in Konoha, I can upgrade my talent entries. Author, MRMO. Chapter 10. Demon Fox Incarnation. This talent entry, at a glance, is related to the 9 tails in Naruto's body. As the most powerful tailed beast, the 9-tailed Jinchuriki, Naruto has always been called the Demon Fox Boy in the village. Incarnation of the Evil Fox, Gold. You are the incarnation of the evil fox in the human world. Your existence makes people around you fear you. Your power is enough to bring disaster to the world. Your existence is a terrible natural disaster. Chakra add 1500%. Ninjutsu power add 500%. Additional ability, perception of good and evil. 15 times the chakra increase, 5 times the ninjutsu power increase. And there is an additional ability, the perception of good and evil. If Ryosuke Yagami remembers correctly, this ability to perceive good and evil is the ability of the Kyuubi. You can sense the changes in the emotions of people around you towards you, whether they have evil thoughts or good thoughts, and you can tell it directly at a glance. Ryosuke Yagami gave it a try and found that most of his classmates had kind thoughts towards him. Only a very small number of boys have some faint evil thoughts towards themselves. But not much. Probably jealous of how handsome he is. Can't help but. Naruto's kindness towards me is so high. Isn't this guy too easy to bribe? Yakami Ryosuke looked at Naruto in the front row. Everyone in the class thought that Naruto had the highest kindness towards him. Then there was Nara Shikamaru. However, what surprised Yagami Ryosuke was that Ukihasuke, this guy, actually has good intentions towards him. He thought Urzuji couldn't like anyone. It turns out he is quite kind at heart. But I didn't expect that this guy actually harbored ill intentions toward me. Ryosuke Yagami glanced at the classmate next door. This little kid even invited him to play together after school yesterday. Unexpectedly, he actually hated himself. Is the kid who promised to be simple-minded? What are you talking about? Is it the Naruto world where everyone matures prematurely? That's okay. The ability to perceive good and evil is quite good to use. The key is that this thing does not consume chakra. Speaking of chakra consumption, Ryosuke Yagami also discovered it last night. One situation. Didn't he consume most of his chakra while practicing ninjutsu? Later, he found that his chakra recovery speed was a bit too fast. You must know that normally, the chakra recovery speed of ninjas is about the same. Who is faster and who is slower, unless you have a special physique. For example, someone like Senju Hashirama. Or someone like Jinhuriki, who has a super large power bank. Most ordinary ninjas, their chakra recovery speed, if not when taking drugs, they are all the same. Ryosuke Yagami also fell into this category before. Although he obtained the bloodline of the Uchiha clan yesterday, Uchiha has the bloodline of the sage eyes, not the sage body. Except for Madara Uchiha, who took office except for the reincarnation of Indra Chakra, the chakra recovery efficiency of other Uchihas is not much faster than that of civilian ninjas. But Ryosuke Yagami found that his chakra recovery speed was about 10 times faster than before. I was quite puzzled at first. Later I realized that the chakra training efficiency in the emotional talent entry Spirit of Vengeance increased not only the efficiency of refining chakra. It also increased the recovery efficiency. A normal ninja's chakra is basically 10% recovery is possible in 1 hour. It takes almost 10 hours to fully recover. This is when there is enough food. Ryosuke Yagami was also at this speed originally. But now, he only needs an hour, or even less than 1 o'clock, it will take about 50 minutes. You will be able to return to the perfect state. More than 10 times faster than before. Quite a titanium. This recovery speed is probably only the same for Senju Hashirama, right? Of course, it could also be Yagami. Ryosuke underestimated Dazu. Maybe Dazu's recovery speed was faster than him. But no matter what, with this recovery speed, as long as the amount of chakra keeps up, Yagami Ryosuke will not be short of it in the future. Chakra. Just right. Demon Fox Incarnation. This talent entry adds 15 times more chakra to Ryosuke Yagami. Originally, Ryosuke Yagami's chakra had reached 0.8 calories. This is at a 10-fold increase. In terms of its own basic chakra, it is almost 0.073 calories. Now add 25 times more. It's directly 1.825 cards. Rounding up, that's 1.83 calories of chakra. Already a lot more than an ordinary jounin. Such chakra, coupled with a recovery speed of 17% every 10 minutes. Basically, as long as you don't use consuming ninjutsu, you can directly transform into a perpetual motion machine during normal combat. Of course, the consumption and recovery of chakra will consume body cell energy. Therefore, the perpetual motion machine is only theoretical. The fact is that if Yagami Ryosuke really plays like this, he will only destroy himself. But even if he cannot transform into a perpetual motion machine, Ryosuke Yagami's combat endurance is dozens of times that of other ninjas of the same level. If you cast one ninjutsu, I can cast dozens of them. This is a huge advantage. Not to mention, Ryosuke Yagami's ninjutsu is 10 times more powerful. C-level ninjutsu, using destructive power close to S-level. It's so scary. No, I have to learn more ninjutsu quickly, otherwise I always feel that this talent entry is too wasteful. Ryosuke Yagami thought to himself. Ryosuke Yagami was very satisfied with the talent entry of Demon Fox Incarnation. Intuitively, the entry of King of Escape from the Mouth was snatched away. However, what Ryosuke Yagami really looked forward to was the last one. Azura's Mercy entry. After all, when it comes to Azura, just look at yesterday's talent entry Indra's Resentment. This is definitely better than the previous 2 entries. It's very possible, it involves the immortal body. Azura's Kindness. Gold. The kind-hearted Azura always hopes to bring peace to the world with his own hands. His innocence and kindness can infect others, but sometimes it also brings trouble to himself, and a kind heart. His heart also brought him enough power to change the world. Physical fitness add 1000%. Resilience add 1000%. Natural affinity add 1000%. Chakra add 1000%. Comes with a human body. Yes, Ryosuke Yagami was mentally prepared. But after seeing the attributes of this talent entry, I couldn't help but be stunned for a few seconds. Then he couldn't help but take a breath. So strong. So transformed into titanium.